Okay, guys, it is Monday morning. Adam Trigger here, ready to talk Major League Baseball. We're going to get right into it with a free pick from Dodgers Marlins. I want to point something out here before we get into this handicap because I think this is something that you're going to want to sort of keep an eye on as the season goes along. The books are sharp to this whole like the team played on Sunday night and now they've got a game on Monday angle. That was something that 8-9 years ago, maybe not quite that long ago, but you used to be able to find some real value there, maybe looking to play against teams that had just played on Sunday Night Baseball. It's still notable in some scenarios, but now I think it's like pretty overbaked into the number. And I actually think the Dodgers are a little bit underrated here. So this has ticked up a little bit, like since maybe 20 minutes ago when I wrote down the lines. But even where it currently is at, like I had my eye on this when it was minus 190, it's probably up to minus 210. But I still think the Dodgers are probably the side here. And the run line really hasn't moved. So you're probably going to get the most value if you like the Dodgers on the run line. And it all stems back to the fact that the books have to sort of bake this in now. Otherwise, they get sort of inundated with action playing against, okay, the team just played on Sunday night. Now they're playing on Monday. We want to fade that team. Also, for the Dodgers, they were in Atlanta last night, Atlanta to Miami, pretty much no travel right there. So I don't really think this is a disadvantage, let's say, to the Dodgers. I think it's just sort of the normal thing. Played a night game. They're going to a close city to start a new series, and they just absolutely dominated this Marlins team last week. I don't really see much in the way of how that might change here. Yes, could they catch the Dodgers sleeping at some point in this series? Maybe. But the Dodgers scored 34 runs in 3 games against the Marlins last week in a sweep. And at least this matchup, the one we're talking about for Monday night, looks like it could be pretty lopsided again. I've talked about the Marlins all year. They're a team I think has a lot of upside. They're very young, and they've got some talent, but they're just straight up outclassed by this Dodgers team. And the one area that I've talked about trying to bet against the Marlins is when Sandy Alcantara is on the mound, because he still gets a little bit of credit for the name, for the fact that he won the Cy Young back in 2022. But the reality is he's just not the same guy. The guy that won the Cy Young in 2022 is healthy. In 2023, he pitched through injury basically all year, and the injuries piled up enough where he ended up having to have Tommy John surgery in 2024 and never stepped on a Major League Baseball mound. He's now back this year, back off the surgery, but he still looks like he's got to work some stuff out. 8.31 ERA, 1.65 whip, just hasn't been very good. And the Dodgers just saw him and just put 7 runs up in 2 1/3. I struggle to find a scenario where this gets better for Alcantara and better for the Marlins. On the other side, the Dodgers, a lot of people probably don't know the name that they're going to see on the mound tonight. So Ben Casperius, is not going to be a household name by any means, but he's been a really good player in this organization for a couple of years now. He's found a nice niche for the Dodgers as kind of like a long reliever, middle reliever type guy. He was someone that started quite a few games at AAA last year, came out of the bullpen for the Dodgers some. In just about any other organization, this guy's probably in the starting rotation. But when you're the Dodgers and you just have an embarrassment of riches, so many players that are quality that you don't know what to do with, you end up with a guy like this that they've struggled to sort of find a home for at the big league level until this season, where he's kind of filled that long reliever niche. And that's really what he's going to do here. He'll be an opener, but he's going to be an opener in like a bulk innings type role where they're going to probably let him go, until he gets into trouble. I think they'll probably let him go 70, 80 pitches. So you're probably going to get 4 or 5 innings out of him. And the Dodgers have most of their bullpen arms intact. They really didn't burn anyone in that game with the Braves last night. 30 career big league appearances for Casperius, 2.70 ERA, 1.10 whip, and that does not count the 6 1/3 that he threw for the Dodgers in the playoffs last year, where he only gave up 1 run and was pretty dominant. So I think he's undervalued in this spot, even at minus 200. Him and the Dodgers probably undervalued based on a couple of factors. A, the Dodgers played Sunday Night Baseball. B, Kasparius is not a household name. I've got the Dodgers closer to -250, -260. So if you can't stomach that -210, I do think Dodgers on the run line, probably in that -120 to -130 range is worth a look. As I said, the bullpen is rested. Alcantara, I can't see him holding the Dodgers down. And the Marlins bullpen really has been average at best, probably trending toward, the bottom third of the league as far as bullpen arms. So this is a pretty lopsided game right here. You're getting the full 9 at-bats out of the visitor. I won't be at all surprised if the Dodgers put up another couple crooked numbers, especially coming off of the loss on Sunday Night Baseball, and have a pretty lopsided win in South Beach that likely covers that -1.5 run line. All right, at WagerTalk today, I have a 5% MLB max bet. I've hit 4 of these in a row. I'm ahead on the MLB season. My last 70 MLB plays dating back to the playoffs last year, 41-29. That's 58.6% for 39.01 units of profit. And as I said, 4 straight MLB, 5% MLB wins. We had the Orioles last Wednesday. It was my only 5% play of last week. It won. I've got another one that goes tonight. You can either grab that play or check out a great special that we have. It's essentially a buy 2 weeks, get a week free. And I believe that runs for the rest of the day today. So check both of those things out. But I'm going for 5 straight 5% max bet winners tonight, Monday night. And I hope you are joining me to try to hit 5 in a row. I'm very confident. This is one of my favorite spots of the season so far. And when you buy that and read the write-up, you will see why. All right, we're going to talk one more game here, but don't forget, I am going to be on the clock this afternoon. So I'll have a couple more Major League Baseball free picks on the WagerTalk YouTube channel on the clock. And we're going to do a full hour tomorrow morning, as we always do, with Brian Leonard and Tokyo Brandon on Total Basis, also on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. But I've got one more for you right now. We're going to talk Padres, Yankees. And I got to say, the Padres are as challenging of a team as you're going to find to handicap in Major League Baseball right now. The reason is at 22-11, they're like basically a half game behind the Dodgers for the best record in the Major League Baseball. By win percentage, the only team in Major League Baseball right now that has a better win percentage is, of course, the Dodgers. They have a laundry list of injuries, multiple to key players, but we're going on a month of the Padres being without Jackson Merrill and Jake Cronenworth, who are the 2 most notable. And it hasn't mattered. All the Padres do is play winning baseball. As I said, 22-11, the only team with a higher win percentage in Major League Baseball right now, off of memory, I'm pretty sure, is the Dodgers. There's a whole bunch of teams with like 21, 22 wins, and the Padres are one of those teams. So, and then you could take it a step further. They've got long-term injuries to guys like Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove that's caused them to have to use some pitchers that probably should be at AAA. This is why it makes them so challenging to handicap, because you've got guys like Kyle Hart, who was in the KBO last year, Randy Vasquez, who's probably a AAA caliber arm at best. Yesterday, I got sucked in yesterday. I played the Pirates, and the Padres had Stephen Kolek on the mound, who they've called up from AAA. He goes out and shuts out the Pirates. So it is a very challenging team to handicap, but the things you got to remember is, A, the team that the Padres are putting on the field right now with Tatis, Machado, and a whole bunch of good players is still better than what most teams have in the league. And B, the Padres bullpen is better than almost anyone in the league. So they still have an elite team. They still have an elite bullpen, and they've been able to sort of get around some of these injuries to key players and their rotation. But the books still have to price it in. And that's why they're such a challenging team to handicap, because the books don't really know where to put them. So you get scenarios where you're going against AAA Kolek at like even money yesterday. But then you have a scenario like this where you have Nick Pivetta, who has a whip under 1, has been one of the best starters in Major League Baseball, as a plus 130, plus 135 underdog because they're on the road against the Yankees. I've said this all year about the Yankees. I think this team's very overvalued. Doesn't mean I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Doesn't mean they're not a contender in the American League. But the reality is this. The Yankees went to the World Series last year. They got off to a hot start this year. they are whenever the Yankees are good, they're going to take a ton of money, and they're going to be a publicly bet team. So it's going to be very tough to find good lines to back them. Where I have this Yankees team, especially right now, with no Stanton, some guys that are injured. Obviously, Cole gets hurt before the season. I think there's going to be line value fading the Yankees on just about a regular basis. And it was something I talked about prior to the weekend, and they lost as a pretty big favorite twice to the Rays. On the other side, you've got Carlos Rodon. You look at Baseball Savant. These two starters, you look at their numbers, Rodon, Pivetta, both have a whip under one right now. They've both been tremendous. You look at the Savant pages for both, they're way up in the top percentiles for starting pitching. But Pavetta's is slightly better, and I think the Padres have a slightly better baseball team. So if I'm betting Padres Yankees tonight, I've got to find some way to get to play on the value of the Padres. I know their bullpen's a little bit tired, but they didn't use Robert Suarez yesterday. He's lights out. And I still think that even a tired Padres bullpen is better than most teams' bullpens in Major League Baseball right now. So Padres plus 130. I think you could look at Padres first 5. You can get the half a run with Pivetta, and it's only like minus 115, minus 120. That's certainly intriguing. But this kind of goes back to where I have both of these teams right now. Yankees overvalued. Padres, even with what they currently have, are still one of the best teams in Major League Baseball. And if they're going to be out there at plus 130 or plus money, you have to either find a way to take advantage of that or pass. So lean toward the Padres. I think the best way to bet this is going to be to take Pivetta in the first 5 with the half a run. It's like minus 120. You get to the end of 5 innings in a tie game, you've cashed that ticket. So that's a look for Padres Yankees. As I said, do not forget 5% play goes tonight. I'm going for 5 in a row. And check out On the Clock. I'll be talking 2 different Major League Baseball games and some KBO on the WagerTalk YouTube channel later this afternoon. Like and subscribe, and we will see you guys in the morning with Tokyo Brandon and Brian Leonard on Total Bases, 9 a.m.